so that became what you're going to see today. It was like a 10-15 minute just kind of overview of the history of the rail service here in Laconia and of the railroad station. And that's how this grew. And just recently, Frank has included as well some more information about Steam Village that was here in Gilford. So this program continues to grow. We expect probably some more things will be added as we go on. So, also on your seats, some of you had our calendar, and also some of you may have had our membership brochures. So there are some more at where the water and the snacks were. So if you'd like to pick those up and learn more about us, we'd love that. We are doing a rail excursion again this year. It's on August 10th. You can follow us on Facebook. You can follow us on our website, laconiahistory.com, for more information about that rail trip. We're very excited about it. It happens on National S'mores Day, so there might be a little treat for you all when you get on the train. So, if you were not aware of it, and some of you may not be, Frank Judge has a very deep passion for railroading. It began while watching his grandfather's steam engine-driven commuter train arrive at the station in the early 1950s. He became captivated by the railroad during an April 1976 tourist excursion from Laconia to Lincoln. Since that time, Frank purchased, restored, and operated a wooden 1914 Banger and Aroostook railroad caboose on the Wolfboro Railroad until he relocated to Memphis in 1980 for his job. After returning to New Hampshire in 1986 and acquiring another caboose, he has a slight obsession. His passion for railroading grew. Last year, Frank offered a programming suggestion to us that incorporated a train excursion from Laconia Station. As luck would have it, Granite State Railway would begin excursions from Laconia that summer, which they have continued to do this summer. So if you're itching to get on the train, they're leaving from Laconia this year in the summer. And so a program was planned. Frank was the natural choice to give the presentation prior to the excursion. And this is the presentation he's going to give today, again, with added pieces to it over the last couple of months that he has done a little bit more research with support from Warren and some other volunteers at the Historical Society. So we're thrilled that Frank has joined our volunteer group for presentations. And so please, welcome Frank Judge.
You like my shirt? Okay. Hey. Wow. Glad to see everybody here. Okay, to start off, the Boston, Concord, and Montreal Railroad received its charter in 1844. By August 1848, the railroad had reached Laconia. The expansion of rail service continued, reaching Lakeport in October of 1848, the Weirs by December 1848, Meredith in 49, and Plymouth in 1850. On May 10th, 1853, the final link to Woodsville and thus to Canada was completed. Sidestep a little bit here, the line through Laconia was one of two main lines from Boston to up into Laconia, the other being the Northern Railroad over in Andover, New Hampshire area. Now let's see if this works. There, all right. Okay, Laconia's original downtown wooden passenger station and freight stations were constructed on either side of Pleasant Street, Laconia, in 1848. Unfortunately, the original repurposed station was recently torn down. Some of you may be aware of that. I believe the Salvation Army was in that building for a period of time, and hey, we lost it within the last 6 months or so. That's unfortunate. In the same year, Charles Ranlett established the Ranlett Manufacturing Company initially producing wooden boxcars before the expanding into passenger, freight, subway, and trolley cars. The car shops, which extend from Beacon Street west to Lake Winnisquam, employed 500 to 800 employees until the early 1900s, when the company grew to 1,500 employees. With the emergence of the automobile, businesses declined and operations ceased in 1931, affecting the lives of 4,500 people. And they extrapolate the 1,500 up to 45 because, you know, husband, wife, couple of kids, etc. So when the car shops closed, it was a bit of a tragedy for many people in 1931. Which also reminds me, the crash was in 29, right? Wow, double hitter. The Lakeshore Railroad, which commenced operations in June 1890, provided railway services from Lakeport to Alton, connecting to Dover and the Seacoast region of New Hampshire. We're talking Gilford now, guys, okay? The railroad line remained operational until 1935 and played a significant role in the transportation and connectivity of the area. Although the Lakeshore Railroad ceased operations in 1935, part of the line continued to operate seasonally, contributing to the shipment of ice to Boston until mid-December 1953. It's important to note that until the 1980s, the railroad served Grossman's on Blaisdell Ave. Blaisdell, I think that's where the CVS is in Gilford. Back in the woods, that area there, and the Black Brook section of Laconia, nearby McIntyre Circle, which left a lasting impact on the local transportation landscape. Before I move on to my next, I want to get off this a little bit. I want to point out some interesting. You see right here, this is Lakeport, okay? If you notice this building here, that's what's left of a roundhouse. Lakeport was a major center for railroading for this line, and it was decided to put railroad facilities in Lakeport because no room downtown, you know, in the center city. But I'm going to be talking about this building, so just make a mental note of it. This bridge, of course, has been and still being used, but it's been updated, totally rebuilt. But look down in here, right in this area here is where Irwin built their first marina, right in this area here. I believe in the late 40s, I think it's 1847, 48 that they built their marina. But boy, this picture tells a whole story because it's believed this picture was from the late 30s. The Lakeport branch had been abandoned. So why have a turntable? See it? See the turntable pit? It's been being filled in. And here's the turntable. Here's the table of the turntable that looks probably set out to be scrapped. So unfortunately, the Lakeshore line brought things down. There was also a sign of the times. Here you have a water tower for steam engines also. So it's really an interesting picture. We're going to be talking about the area down here. Okay, everybody should remember that one stall engine, what was left of the engine house. Lakeport's 8-stall engine house was built during the late 1800s to serve steam engines on both Laconia's Concord to Woodsville main line and the Lakeshore branch. Engine houses of the day were essential for providing a shelter space to park and store locomotives when they are not in use, maintenance and repair, and they contain workshops and inspection pits to go underneath and repair, where locomotives could be repaired and maintained, including tasks like changing brake shoes, lubricating parts, and addressing mechanical issues. Some engine houses provide basic facilities for the train crews, such as restrooms or break areas. And, oops. And in this case, the crew, see, it was quite a deep building in order to put engines there. So the crew quarters would be in this area right here. In essence, engine houses were critical for the efficient operation and upkeep of a railway system, ensuring locomotives are ready for their next run and well maintained for long-term use. It is believed that Lakeport's engine house and turntable facilities were closed shortly after the abandonment of the Lakeshore Line. Lakeport's Elm Street passenger station opened in February 7th, 1900, and closed in 1953. It was removed in 1986. The freight station, located across the tracks, served as a freight depot until 1972. And that's just off to the left of the picture here. It currently houses the Lakeport Freight House Museum. When you're driving down Unions, everybody's seen that boxcar in front of the old freight house. The freight house is a gem. I hope it lasts. I hope it makes it. Hope it goes for another 100 years. Lakeshore Railroad traveled through the current Irwin Marine complex between the brick Laconia Water Department buildings along the shore of Paugus Bay before crossing Union Ave and through a portion of today's McDonald's parking lot. It is interesting to note that the hull of the Mount Washington, MS Mount Washington, was transported by railroad from Lake Champlain, Vermont to Lakeport and relaunched in 1940. I'll point out some areas on this, near the area of T-Bone's restaurant. So again, well, this picture tells a big story. Here's the lumber company here. Look at the spur going off. This was a fuel farm, what they call a fuel farm, being fed by the spur. Right here is the location of what became McDonald's. Many of you should recognize this home. It's still there. T-Bone's right here. And oh my God, a whole bunch of condos right here, right? Okay. Also, this area to the, at one time way back, the train, the spur did run along to the left of Union Ave to at least 2 ice houses in that area that sent ice to Boston and around New England. So this picture is a great, tells a big story. Whoop. Yeah, this is coming next. Irwin Marine often received shipments of boats via railroad within their complex during the 1950s and 60s. A special siding was created to launch boats directly from boxcars into the lake. Wow, here we go again. I'm going to ad-lib a little bit here. This is a regular freight train, boxcars, that's coming down from North Country, heading south to Concord. Now right here, do you see what we call a 44-tonner switcher? It's a yard switcher. Now look behind it. See the boxcar? All right, and just picture this area. So what would happen is a cradle would be just the end of the boxcar would open up at the end. A cradle would be placed on tracks right in back of it. Boat went under the cradle. Cradle literally went into the water. What a great way. It worked well for the years. This would have been the 50s, late 50s, early 60s. That's at Irwin's, yeah. Yeah, that's Irwin's, that's the whole purpose for the, for this, see this little spur here. All right. Okay, I got a story to tell you here. There's been many railroads running this branch since the B&M left. One of them was the Wolfboro Railroad. Yes, it's in Wolfboro, was operating in Wolfboro, but it had a subsidiary on this line. And so in I'll read this. The last ever passenger train traveled over the remaining few miles of the Lakeshore Railroad and stopped at McDonald's for cheeseburgers during the spring of '76. I can't tell you, I was on this train, okay? So we had gone down to the lumber company. This engine had pulled us down, pulled 2 coaches and down to the lumber company, ran around the train in order to come back. The engine ran around the train in order to pull it back. We stopped right in the middle of McDonald's, and oh my God, I don't know, 60, 70, 80 people piled out of the coaches ordering cheeseburgers. The poor employees went crazy, you know. But it was a fun time. This same excursion, by the way, later on the day ran down to, all the way down to Tilton. And guess what? Almost down to the Franklin Upside Down Bridge, for those of you who know. But it was a great day in the railroad.
Are those tracks still there?
No, they're not. There are a few what we call sticks up where the lumber company was in the ground, trees growing around. The answer is no. Unfortunately, the line was pulled up.
What year was that?
This is April of '76. Maybe a little, now April's kind of, now looking at those trees, maybe a little later. Anyway, fun had by all. The new granite passenger and brick freight stations were built in Laconia, were built in 1892, that guy there. The creation of Depot Square, later renamed Veterans Square after World War I, resulted in the relocation of several homes and the realignment of the street with Church Street. I want to take just a minute here to highly recommend that for any of those who have not visited the station, please do it. It is, boy, it's a beautiful edifice, just unbelievable. I go inside, I just look like that at the ceiling and everything. And, you know, so much of the detail remains, which is great. Now, yes, well, when can I go and visit it? Well, the rail riders, is operating on, so any day they're open, you're welcome to go in and, or better yet, sign up for a ride up to Meredith and back on the railroad. Check it out, just beautiful. Look at that, the trolley car track out front. Oh, hey. The Concord-Montreal Railroad was leased to the Boston and Maine Railroad in early July 1895 for 91 years. During this time, steam was a primary source of power for locomotives, although there were some experimental diesel locomotives and the introduction of the Flying Yankee streamliner in the late 1930s. So this reflects the sort of the changing times, the beginning of the changing time. And just as a side note, the Flying Yankee still exists, guys, okay? And it's up in North Conway. It's actually in Conway, it's on North Conway Scenic Railroad's property in Conway. So, and that's going to be restored, I believe, to a running condition. We're all hoping. In the 1930s and 1940s, circuses often arrived by rail at the Laconia yards. Daily passenger trains traveled north and south, including the Alouette and the Red Wing, which went to Montreal. Many residents took the train to Concord, Manchester, or Boston for shopping and entertainment, with Boston being, catch this, 2 hours away by train. Try and go to Boston 2 hours now, oh my God. Additionally, snow trains brought skiers and winter sports enthusiasts to Laconia and the Belknap recreation area, now known as Gunstock Ski Area, for its popular winter carnivals and winter activities. During World War II, many service members left for training and returned on furlough or upon discharge by train. So, this. In mid-October 1919, Postmaster Napoleon J. Dyer made significant improvements to the mail service at Laconia Station by installing trackside collection mail cranes at both ends of the railroad platform to accommodate northbound and southbound mail. The mail was diligently picked up and sorted for efficient distribution. Mr. Dyer was also instrumental in establishing the current location of Laconia Post Office. And some of you may know Rod Dyer too. I do, he's a good guy. He was the mayor of Laconia, past mayor of Laconia. Now, just so I want to point out a few details here. This is a mail crane. The trains would go right through, bustling right at speed through Laconia, and a special hook, which you can't really see here, but it's on this bar, and it's extended out. A hook is extended out, which grabs this bag of mail on the fly. All right? Yeah, and they keep on going. Meanwhile, one of the one of the crew members in the RPO throws out an empty bag for use next time. So they toss a empty bag out and they grab this.
Why wouldn't they stop in Laconia all the, well, it just might have been freight.
Excuse me?
Why wouldn't they stop in Laconia? I guess it could have been freight.
Well, generally they were on passenger cars, the RPOs. Yeah, I know what you're saying. Anyway, and this process took place all over the United States, all over the railroad system in the United States. Good question. More baggage. In addition to mail services, baggage cars were a standard feature on many trains. At the Laconia passenger station, several distinctive four-wheel carts, approximately 8 feet long, were utilized to unload baggage. Increasingly, after passenger service ceased, some of these carts found new purpose at the Big Banana. I guess some of you are familiar with that. Yeah, I could hear that. Serving as a display area for showcasing fruits and vegetables. Many may remember the delivery services of the Railroad Express Agency. How about that? Pre-UPS, there was an extensive Railroad Express Agency system going. The railroad played a crucial role in transporting raw materials for businesses like Scott and Williams and Irwin Marine. Throughout the 1940s and 1950s, it often managed heavy freight traffic, moving significant shipments of ice, coal, oil, and liquid propane. Additionally, milk trains transported milk from dairy farms in the Lakes region area to Boston for pasteurization and sale. The local newspapers received their newsprint by rail, which led the Laconia Evening Citizen, that bring a few memories, to build a warehouse at Lakeport Yard, and specifically for newsprint storage. Let's just point it out there. Wow. Laconia produced an awful lot of stuff in its day and was dependent upon the railroad. In the late, oh boy, I hope I can get up. In the late 1920s, a tower was constructed between the passenger station and New Salem Street to manage the crossing gates along North Main Street. Over the years, the crossing gates were replaced by flashing lights, then restored and ultimately removed again. At one time, other crossings in this city were equipped with flashing lights. Some remain, while others were removed and when rail traffic was diminished. Okay, everybody knows where this area is. In 1950, let me, one more let me add on to the previous there. In 1953, a significant update took place. Automatic gates and new flashing signals were installed at Main Street crossing, while additional grade crossings were equipped with new flashes. In 1950, the Boston and Maine Railroad ordered 109 brand new diesel-electric locomotives. Excuse me. Let me qualify that. In 1950, the Boston and Maine Railroad ordered 109 new kinds of diesel locomotives. What we're referring to here is to the RDCs shown in the picture here, rail diesel cars. And as a matter of fact, Boston and Maine was known for the largest.
Hey Frank, I got a question.
Yeah,
Can you back it up? Can you back it up one slide?
sure,
See above the Opera House, there's a building up on top there?
I do.
What is that?
Well, I think what you're seeing is a lamp post. Yeah.
Space shuttle.
Say, oh my God, another water tower. I don't know. So, okay. Anyway, in the 1950s, the sizable purchase meant that 47 steam and locomotives were scheduled for retirement, making an important milestone in transportation history. The first Budliner, a self-propelled car, passenger car, began operating on the Concord to Plymouth route on October 28, 1956. The decline in passenger traffic was evident with the discontinuation of passenger service to Woodsville in 1954. And by 1959, the Lakeport passenger station was closed due to a substantial decline in passenger traffic, with only 1 or 2 passengers boarding the trains every few days. This led to the removal of rails from Plymouth, New Hampshire up to Woodsville, so no more trains to Canada. That's what that meant. Actually, the last train, Woodsville, was in October of '52, I think. 54. All right, 54. Okay. During the early 1950s, the Lakeport passenger station served as a civil defense headquarters, and in 1969, the Community Action Committee moved from Wyatt Park Clubhouse to the Lakeport passenger station. There's the freight house, still existing freight house right here, just so you know where we're talking about. Wow, we're back to the beauty again, huh? By late 1959, the last passenger train to Plymouth had departed. Laconia served as the end of passenger train line until the subsequent summer, when passenger trains resumed operations to Meredith for 3 months. It was strictly a seasonal accommodation up to Meredith. The reduced frequency of passenger service during this period reflects a notable shift in transportation preferences and usage patterns. God, I love that place. Oh. In 1958, the city of Laconia purchased the Laconia and Lakeport passenger stations for, get this, $60,000. It was a good deal. Even inflation, you know, was still a good price. Yeah. In 1963, the Laconia police headquarters relocated to the old city hall, from the old city hall to the Laconia Railroad Station. On February 24th, 1964, the City Council's first meeting was held at the newly renovated Laconia Railroad Station's combined council chamber and municipal courtroom. All right, we're talking hometown now. Gilford, New Hampshire Steam Village Tourist Railroad opened in 1964 and was located on 40 acres alongside Route 11 across from Laconia Airport. The developers built a narrow gauge railroad by relaying a mile of track over a portion of the abandoned, of 1935 abandoned Lakeshore Railroad.
No, that's not true.
Okay,
It was across the street from where the railroad was.
okay. Well, a mile of track, boy, that was pretty expensive. Phew, good, thank you, Warren. Hey, here's a good picture, much better picture. One of the two steam engines that they had. The railroad owned two steam engines, a small diesel, an open passenger car, and a caboose. One of the steam engines continues to operate at Lincoln, New Hampshire's Loon Mountain Ski Resort. At Loon Mountain, if you've ever been up there, this guy's still steaming along to take that large park, grabbing people from the parking lot and bringing them up to the base of the mountain. So it's still working. All right, here's the only the only equipment missing in this picture is the diesel. They also had a diesel engine. But what a great picture. Steam Village closed during 1968. The railroad station was moved to Weirs Beach during 1975, renamed the Gandy Dancer, and was incorporated into the Howard Johnson's restaurant. Unfortunately, both structures were destroyed by fire in 1984. Also, to the best of my knowledge, this station was stick-built. All right, it was not. The Lakeshore Railroad had numerous stations all the way up from Alton, all the way up. This was stick-built by the developer. Wow. Yeah, where's Beach? Okay, where's Beach? Yes, sir. Yeah, okay, here we go. Talk about changes, oh my God. The very first passenger station at the Weirs was located south of the Weirs Channel, but was only in service briefly until a very plain building was built at the steamer landing on Lakeside Avenue in the early 1850s as the first in a series of stations at this site. Of course, this would be the open air job, the first of many to come. That building was replaced by an ornate Victorian structure, right? This guy here, designed by Laconia architect A.L. Davis in 1880. Then in 1893, a new station with a canopy 30 by 500 feet over the boardwalk to shield travelers from the sun and rain was built. That's this guy here. We're going to talk about that a little bit. Here you go. Wow. Yeah. In 1939, a fire destroyed the previous station, along with the steamer Mount Washington, anchored at an adjacent pier. The city of Laconia then erected in 1940 a modern-style municipal building, which included a ticket, baggage, and waiting room facilities, and a bandstand on the roof. That's cool. That really is cool. Yeah, I wish I had seen that. A lot of fun at the station. Okay, that building was replaced in 1986 and 87 by the current structure erected by the Winnipesaukee Flagship Company. And this is the one we all know. On January 3rd, 1965, the last scheduled passenger train operated on the railroad line south of Laconia's Boston and Maine Railroad Station. The line has since been managed by various companies such as the Wolfboro Railroad, Goodwin Railroad, and New England Southern Railroad. Excursion trains organized by the Hobo Railroad The Winnipesaukee Scenic Railroad and others have run regularly for several years during the special events and holidays. In 1923, the owners of the Hobo and Winnipesaukee Railroad, Brenda and Ben Clark and Jennifer Franz, sold the operation to Patriot Rail. Today, thousands of visitors to Laconia and Laconians themselves enjoy visiting the station building while shopping or eating or taking a trip on a Granite State Scenic Railroad train or rail bike excursion. And I don't know if we mentioned earlier, but Granite State Rail has initiated service from Laconia. Yes, again, go on their site to get the times and the proper dates now. But Laconia's got railroad service again. That's a good thing. All right. Yeah, they conquered. Yeah. All right, guys, that's it. Hope you enjoyed it.
Where does it go to, someone asked? Where does it, from Laconia, where does it go?
It goes up to Meredith. Yeah. I'm looking at this guy. He's an official for the railroad. Okay.
South to Boston and New
Brian, and it's running, what, 2 or 3 days a week?
Right, Saturday and Sunday, I believe, on the weekends, they
Yeah.
come down into Laconia. Other days of the week, they might only do the historical Meredith to Lakeport round trip.
Okay.
And then the Rail Bike Adventures operates out of Laconia Station, and they go south, not quite to Winnisquam, not quite to Mosquito Bridge, but you can pedal along Lake Winnisquam.
That's about a, what, hour and a half, 2 hour trip to pedal?
Thereabouts,
Yeah. Fun, a lot of fun. Bring teenagers. Bring your teenagers. Okay. Yeah, okay. Any questions?
I have an
Right.
interesting bit of trivia.
Sure.
You talked about the railroad coming to Weir's Beach. I've encountered online an early map showing the proposed route of the Boston, Concord, and Montreal. And at first glance, it looks like what was built and what's out there today, but when you look closely at the Weirs area, they had originally proposed staying to the west shore of Pickle Cove.
Oh,
They would have worked their way inland, crossing Roller Coaster Road, crossing Route 3 just north or northwest of the Tamarack, and rejoining the railroad route of today
okay.
at Maiden Lady Cove. And it's interesting to think about the railroad today, if they had held to that survey route and avoided Weirs Beach. It would have avoided all the
No fun.
excitement.
We all know the railroad also built Weirs Beach. You know what I meant by my statement. It brought tourists, it brought a lot of folks to our community and certainly helped our economy. And it's continuing to do that.
Well, of course, another reason for going to Weirs Beach would be the connection with the steamers.
Right.
So I think that probably is why they abandoned that earlier idea. I wanted to mention that there has been, to my knowledge, one excursion from the Laconia station to Boston since the abandonment of regular scheduled service in the 3rd of January 1965. That one excursion was inspired by Win Buswell, who was a teacher at Laconia High School, and he took his social studies class on a trip to Boston. It's the first time that many of the kids had ever been on a train. That, to my knowledge, that's the only time they've ever gone all the way to Boston with a passenger.
Any other questions?
You left off one of the uses of the railroad.
Excuse me, sit.
My family was involved with Alan Rogers, and back at the late 50s,
Okay.
because of prices and everything else, their raw product was started importing it from Canada.
Okay.
The only way they could get it in from Canada was in rail cars.
All right.
So they were all in these bundles, some of them 7/8 inch with 36 in there, and others much larger. But when they arrived here, because of the amount of jostling back and forth at all the switching stations, all those bundles had just broke. So originally, they had planned to just have a forklift go on, empty it out like
Yeah.
that. Instead, myself and young Joe Capus were brought in at minimum wage into 100-degree hot boxcars
It's like-
to hand unload all these bundles of wood. I don't think they did that in other.
You remember
Thank you for your comment. You know, I'd like to just, to me, the railroad that went from Concord, New Hampshire up through Woodsville and into Canada, it was the I-93 of its time, and that's the way we need to look at it. It brought everything, groceries to the grocery store, furniture, boom, fuel, the whole thing, replaced by I-93. So, yes, sir.
On TV, I saw, I thought it was pretty real cool about, there's a thing where they have an engine at one side and an engine at another side, and they got like 300-400 cars in the middle, and
Yeah.
it talks all about how it just trucks and,
Yeah, they had to have helper engines.
Yeah, yeah.
They had to have helper engines. Yeah, there's so much business out there.
and
Well,
then it shows where these people are looking out the window and they're on the, taking pictures of the
as Brian will confirm, North Country, New Hampshire is having a rebirth in railroad activity, by the way. Parts of the Northern Railroad, the line that ran up through Crawford Notch, the Mountain Division Railroad, parts of it being restored and everything. So people are taking a second look at the benefits of railroad transportation. So, thank you, sir.
And plus too, when I went on the Cog Railway, the guy,
That's fun.
that railroad guy,
Yeah.
he was so funny, he was talking about the whole procedure where the engine got rebuilt, I think it was in Boston.
Oh,
Yeah, that engine that goes up the Cog Railway.
yeah. Interesting note on the cog, by the way. The cog, all standard railway gauge is 4 foot 8.5 inches. That's across the whole United States. But for whatever reason, the cog railway was built at 4 feet 8 inches, not 8.5. So there's a half an inch off. I can't get an answer why. I don't know why. Anyway, that's.
So speaking of the Cog Railway, the library, if you have a library card here, we do have passes for the Cog Railway through July. If you buy one ticket, you get one free, which saves you, I think it's like $85 for an adult. Yeah, so it's you can only go Monday through Friday, and you have to book the 9 o'clock, the 2 or the 3 o'clock train. But we still have about 10 passes left, and we also have a pass once you get to the top, you can go to the observatory, and that's for free. So, talking about trains here, if you want to take that Cog Railway and have a library
Sounds
card,
good.
sign up before they go.
All right, any more questions? Okay, I look forward to seeing you on the train.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you, everyone, for coming. Oh my goodness, some of those pictures, I have no idea. I'm not from around here, so. I'm from Mass, and I was like, what is that Go Bananas? What was
Gone
that?
now. It used to be a